For directions for Rhea Ripley if she wins Women's WWE Money in the Bank 2025, fans have a lot to look forward to in the coming days. Friday Night SmackDown will air later tonight, and Saturday will feature two premium live events, Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. There are several exciting matches on the card, but arguably the most interesting is the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. That bout will feature Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Naomi. Out of the 6 stars in the match, there isn't a bad option for the winner. However, there is certainly one standout among the others. Rhea Ripley, undoubtedly the top female performer in pro wrestling today, is the definite favorite heading into Money in the Bank. If the Eradicator wins the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, what could she do next? Rhea has several options with the briefcase, and this article will tackle a handful of possible options for arguably Raw's biggest star. Below are 4 directions for Rhea Ripley if she wins the Women's Money in the Bank 2025. Rhea Ripley may challenge Io Sky for Evolution. Io Sky is on top of the world right now as the Women's World Champion. She is also a former NXT Women's Champion, Tag Team Champion, and WWE Women's Champion. Her career has been exceptionally successful. The WWE Women's World Champion and Rhea Ripley have had an interesting past. Rhea is set to be able to defeat the Genius of the Sky in singles competition, despite having tried multiple times. While one might think that this would create animosity between them, the pair has instead seemingly bonded. That bond could be tested if Rhea wins the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. She could decide to cash in the briefcase, but instead of doing it in a cheap manner, Rhea could straight-up challenge for a Women's World title match at Evolution. A showdown between these two performers in the main event would be magnificent. She could cash in on Tiffany Stratton and move to SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton is a young performer, but her success cannot be denied. She is the reigning WWE Women's Champion. Tiffany won the title by cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase on Nia Jax at the beginning of this year. Rhea and Tiffany may not have a lot of history together, but they seem to get along well. They were once part of a tag team match where they teamed up, but ultimately, the match ended without a conclusive finish. That bout took place on October 7, 2024, episode of Raw, in which they faced off against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Despite being on okay terms, Rhea might decide to cash in on Tiffany Stratton to win the WWE Women's title. She hasn't held this version of the belt yet, and considering her friendship with Io, a surprise cash-in on Stratton could be the move Rhea makes. Who knows, it might happen as soon as on SmackDown next week. Rhea Ripley could wait to cash in until WrestleMania. The Money in the Bank concept dates back over 20 years. The first Money in the Bank ladder match took place at WrestleMania 21, where Edge won the bout and went on to cash in the following January at New Year's Revolution. This is one of WWE's most memorable uses of the Money in the Bank contract, but arguably the other is Seth Rollins' infamous heist of the century. The Visionary waited to cash in until WrestleMania, and Damian Priest later replicated this move. No female star has waited until WrestleMania, but Rhea could change that. The Eradicator could hold the briefcase until WrestleMania 42 and make sure she is part of a headline match at the show of shows. She could use it on Liv Morgan and the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Liv Morgan is one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. She has teamed up with Raquel Rodriguez, and together they hold the record for the most times a women's team has held the title. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan share a long and complicated history. They were once a tag team and extremely close. Unfortunately, Rhea turned her back on Morgan. Since then, Liv has gotten her revenge on the Eradicator multiple times and has repeatedly crossed the line. She even took Rhea's boyfriend and her place within the Judgment Day. The two have constant animosity, which could lead to Rhea making history. If she wins the briefcase, Ripley may decide to cash it in for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles for the first time ever. She could align herself with Io Sky or even Stephanie Vaquer, solely to steal the titles away from her longtime rival. Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vaquer to battle Naomi, Roxanne Perez and Julia ahead of Money in the Bank. Prior to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vaquer will temporarily align to take on Naomi, Roxanne Perez and Julia in a 6-woman tag team match. Rhea Ripley to destroy the competition, new WWE Raw star to shock the world? For finishes for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. WWE has a big weekend ahead. The sports entertainment juggernaut will be presenting 2 premium live events on Saturday, June 7th. This includes Worlds Collide, a special event featuring stars from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AAA, followed by Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank 2025 is loaded with top stars and big matches. John Cena and Logan Paul will join forces to face Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, while Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria will clash, and there will also be a men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Perhaps the most interesting match booked for the event is the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss will all compete for a title opportunity. How will this bout end, and which star will leave with the briefcase? There are several intriguing ways the match could conclude, and this article will take a look at multiple plausible and likely scenarios from the big event on Saturday. Below are 4 finishes for the WWE Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Rhea Ripley could destroy the other 5 WWE stars. Rhea Ripley has been a top star in WWE for quite a while. She is the only woman to win the top title available to her on NXT UK, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. She is also a former women's tag team champion. As a talent, the Eradicator has been one of the most dominant female stars in WWE history. She has defeated the very best, including notable names like Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Liv Morgan, among others. At Money in the Bank, Rhea could easily demolish the competition. Roxanne, Stephanie, and Julia are all new to the main roster. Meanwhile, Alexa is much smaller than Rhea. The Eradicator dominating the competition and winning in record time feels possible. Finn Balor could help Roxanne Perez win. Roxanne Perez is called the Prodigy, and for good reason. She began wrestling at a very young age and has achieved significant success. For example, she's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion and a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. She also set the record for the longest time in the Women's Royal Rumble match. The Prodigy's time on WWE's main roster has been fascinating. She has an association with Finn Balor and is seemingly looking to join the Judgment Day. On Raw this past week, she actually helped Balor and JD McDonough in defeating the War Raiders. Finn might choose to return the favor at Money in the Bank. The Prince could create a distraction, allowing Roxanne to sneak up a ladder and win the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase. While the other stars would be furious, it would add serious power to the Judgment Day. Naomi could get a cheap victory as part of her new heel persona. Naomi is another highly successful female star. She is a multi-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion and a former SmackDown Women's Champion. Naomi also found success in TNA wrestling while she was away from the sports entertainment juggernaut. The Glow has revealed a new side of herself in 2025. She turned heel by viciously and sneakily assaulting Jade Cargill last year. Since then, she has become borderline psychotic, leaving WWE fans unsure of what to expect from her next. Naomi could win the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match through cheap, sneaky, or otherwise unethical means. For instance, she could take a page out of Io Sky's book and use handcuffs. She could lock someone to the ropes or a ladder, stopping her opposition from preventing Naomi's ascension. Charlotte Flair could cost Alexa Bliss the win. Alexa Bliss is a future WWE Hall of Famer. She is a former world champion in both Raw and SmackDown. She's also a former women's tag team champion with several partners and a previous Money in the Bank winner. In recent weeks, the goddess has been looking to form a bond with Charlotte Flair. However, the Queen has been opposed to the idea and seems downright annoyed with the former WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. At Money in the Bank, Charlotte could send a message to the goddess by pushing her off a ladder. This would state that they are not and will not ever be friends, loud and clear. From there, Julia, as a heel, could capitalize on the chaos and pull down the briefcase. Cena and Paul stand at 11-8. Considering that Rhodes will likely be the man to dethrone Cena before the 17-time world champion's retirement, there's a good chance that Rhodes gets the pinfall win here and sets up the rematch one-on-one against Cena before the end of 2025. Women's Money in the Bank Ladder Match. The Women's Money in the Bank Ladder Match features a mix of seasoned and rising stars: Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez, Naomi, Julia, and Alexa Bliss. Naomi leads the betting odds at 4-7, followed by Roxanne Perez at 2-1 on Paddy Power. Naomi has been doing some of the best work of her career over the past few months with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, so her grabbing the briefcase is very likely and will give her something to work with over the next few months. Men's Money in the Bank Ladder Match. The men's ladder match includes Seth Rollins, Penta, El Grande Americano, Solo Sikoa, Andrade, and LA Knight. Rollins is the favorite with odds at 8-13 on Paddy Power, but El Grande Americano, with odds at 2-1, is considered a potential dark horse. Given that Rollins is the de facto leader of the biggest group on Raw right now alongside Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, he should be the man to grab the briefcase this weekend.